tapo la cara porque ya me veo más gordo.
No, yes. Well, as you can see, we're driving, and as you can see from the windows, it's dark outside because it's nighttime. It's like almost 10 p.m. We're actually driving from Port La Vaca to Houston because why are we in Port La Vaca?
Agarré un nuevo trabajo. El trabajo era de este lado, en Port La Vaca. Entonces tuve que moverme a vivir de este lado. Y todavía seguimos aquí. Estamos yendo para la casa.
Yeah, so he works here Monday through Friday, and I come with him on Thursday nights just so we can, like, you know, spend a little more time together, because if not, we would just have Saturday and Sunday, and that's not enough for us. So we want to be able to spend as much time as we can together, so we're doing that. So right now we're driving back home because, well, we need to be back home for the weekend.
Así que prepárense para una historia de terror ahorita.
Oh my gosh. I don't have any good ones, so. But yeah, guys, so it's been a minute. Excuse my messy hair. It's nighttime. We're traveling, whatever.
We're not planning to record.
Yeah, that too. And so yeah, I don't think we've posted anything since our trip to Florida. So this video is gonna be kind of like an update on what's happened since then, because a lot of stuff has happened since then, and we haven't, like, you know, made any videos or posted about it. I don't know if we've talked about it on our podcast, probably, but I mean, why not make a video about it too? Basically, so we went to our trip to Florida. I think it was like at the end of July or beginning of August, something like that. And basically, so we came back, everything went back to normal. We went back to work, but like 2 weeks after we came back from our trip to Florida, Luis got really sick. It started off with like a headache, and then what other symptoms did you have?
Pues, look, estaba yo en la casa de mi cuñada y pues estábamos mirando la televisión, estábamos todos en la sala. De repente empecé a sentir un dolor de cabeza aquí al lado en mi cabeza, bien intenso, muy intenso el dolor. Me acuerdo que estábamos mirando una película y yo ya no me podía concentrar porque sí me andaba doliendo, no mucho, pero sí lo suficiente como para estar incómodo. Entonces me acuerdo que nada más me puse mi hoodie y pues traté de relajarme y poner atención a la película y no pensar más en el dolor de cabeza. Pensé que se iba a ir, pero, oh sorpresa, el día siguiente me desperté bastante enfermo.
I honestly didn't think it was gonna get that bad. I thought maybe he was like, I don't know, like le iba a dar gripa or something, you know. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. I was like, you know, just a couple of days, maybe a week, he'll be sick and it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be over. But it just gradually got worse. He ended up getting really sick. About at the end of the first week or the second week, I started getting sick too. I started getting a runny nose, congestion, a sore throat, and I was starting to get bad too. And so we ended up having to go to the clinic. And then obviously the first thing that they asked us was like, oh, have you gotten tested for COVID? And we were like, no, because we don't think it's COVID. Or it's just like a gripa or whatever, a cold. And they were like, no, you have to get tested because it's the symptoms that you have are COVID. I'm like, they're also symptoms of a cold or a gripa, so okay. And then, but they were like, really like, no, you have to get tested because that sounds like it's COVID. So we both ended up having to get tested, obviously because Luis got sick first, and then I ended up getting sick, and obviously we both tested positive for COVID. And Luis got really bad. He had a really bad cough. Even throughout the night, he was coughing really bad, where he had to end up sleeping like on his stomach because some people told him that would be able to help him breathe. I don't know.
Yeah, no podía respirar. Me costaba mucho trabajo respirar. Tenía que respirar por mi boca, ya no por mi nariz. O sea, ya no podía. O sea, me costaba mucho trabajo.
Yeah, I don't know the scientific stuff behind how it helps, but it really did seem to help him because he would cough a lot less whenever he would sleep on his stomach. And it was getting really bad, honestly. Like, we were both kind of scared at that point because we didn't know. He had already been sick. I think he ended up getting sick for like a total of 3 weeks, like almost a month. Like the second and third week were the worst, and I was sick for maybe 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. And oh man, it was definitely a struggle. We obviously had to stay at home. Neither of us worked. We thought our family was gonna be kind of tripping, you know, like trying to keep their distance from us, since we are staying at my mom's house. And but no, like they didn't really keep their distance. They were not like fuchis, you know, stay away from me, cooties.
No. They were like, come to us, nos daban comida, o sea, like nothing, you know, como si no tuviéramos nada, como si no tuviéramos coronavirus. O sea, la verdad se portaron muy bien.
Yeah, they really did. Like, we would still eat at the table together. They would still talk to us. They would check up on us. They would help us out. And yeah, it was pretty much, you know, like if we just had a cold or gripa or tos or whatever, it was not too much like, oh my gosh, you have COVID, you have to stay in your rooms, lock yourselves in there, and we're gonna bleach everything that you touch. No.
Pero lo que sí noté es de que, o sea, no nos hacían fuchi, pero cuando veía que, o sea, sí notaba que limpiaban todo así como que bien limpiecito, con Kleenex. Todos sus cuartos los tenían así con purifiers, tragándose todo, el NyQuil y el DayQuil, todo. Porque pues obviamente no se querían enfermar. Pero sí, o sea, sí andaban tomando sus precauciones, pues, ellos mismos, ¿no? O sea, y es normal, yo creo que pues también yo haría lo mismo, ¿no? O sea, no te voy a hacer el fuchi, pero pues no manches, me voy a cuidar, me voy a tomar una extra vitaminas.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I understand that. And I think that's exactly what they were doing too. They were all making sure to take their vitamins, and even if they weren't taking vitamins, they were starting to take vitamins just to make sure that they could strengthen their immune system, since both of us had COVID at the same time, and in the same house, you know. And in our house, well, we have my nephew's there. He's not that little. He's like 11, 12 years old now. I do have a younger nephew. Him, I did stay away from because, like, he's a baby, you know. I didn't want to give him my symptoms or give him COVID or anything like that. From my nephew, who's a baby, I did keep my distance, and I would try not to touch any of his stuff or go near wherever he was at, stuff like that. And so basically, we ended up going back to the clinic after we tested positive for COVID, because Luis was starting to get really bad, and so they had to give him some like vitamin shots or something like that, and to kind of help, you know, reinforce his immune system, help him fight the cough and strengthen his lungs and all that stuff. And so we ended up, so he got them, and I was supposed to get them too. But here's the thing. About the first week that Luis was sick, there was a day where I felt extremely weird. Like, I don't know, I can't really explain it. I just never had that feeling before. I felt like there was something in my stomach. Like, it felt bloated. I don't know. I can't really describe it because it was just this really weird feeling that I've never had before. And my stomach felt big. And I don't know. And I was just like, Luis, I feel weird. I don't know what's going on, but I feel weird. My stomach feels weird. And then what surprised me was his answer, because he was like, take a pregnancy test. And I was like, I don't think I'm pregnant. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's that. And he was like,
but I was just kidding, porque nosotros ya habíamos estado tratando de tener bebés, y pues yo aprovechaba cualquier momento para decirle, hazte una prueba de embarazo. Pero realmente, o sea, ya teníamos un buen tiempo tratando, que yo al último yo ya lo decía así como por decir, no porque realmente estaba serio y decía, sí estás embarazado, a lo mejor sí estás embarazado. La verdad, no se lo dije sabiendo que ella está embarazada.
But yeah, his answer really surprised me because I was like, this feels kind of like whenever you get food poisoning or something you ate, I don't know, something weird in your stomach is all weird. And so he was like, take a pregnancy test. And I was like, how is that going to help me? But I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyways, because even though that doesn't make sense, I'm gonna do it. I think it was either the next day or within 2 days that happened to me, that I ended up taking a pregnancy test. But if you are trying to get pregnant for the first time, you should probably learn how to read a pregnancy test, because that was my mistake. I took one and I didn't even know how to read it. And so
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. And so there was a line there on the pregnancy test. It was pink. It was a pink line. That means you're pregnant. But I thought it had to be like really dark, and only if the line was really dark, that means you're pregnant. And like, even if the line is there but it's really light, it's not dark, then you're not pregnant. So that's what I thought. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm not pregnant. And so I was just like, okay, whatever. I threw it away. And then come to find out, a week later, I was supposed to get my period, but I didn't get it. I missed it. And I was like, oh, that's weird, because my period is always on time. It's never late. And so I was just like, okay, this is very suspicious. I think I need to take another pregnancy test, but this time I'm gonna watch a YouTube video so I know how to read them, because I didn't know. And so I ended up watching a couple of videos, and then I ended up taking one, and I ended up being pregnant while I had COVID.
Yeah.
So that was an adventure. And so yeah, so we ended up going back to the clinic like a few days later, because Luis had to get more vitamin shots, and I was supposed to get them too. Luis didn't know. I didn't tell him that I was pregnant, that I had just found out that I was pregnant, because I wanted to surprise him. And so we ended up going to the clinic. He got his shots. I was supposed to get mine. Luckily, after Luis got his shots, he went to sit in the car. I don't know why. He went to sit in the car, so I was in the clinic by myself. And then
I was feeling terrible. I didn't want to be there. It was cold and the seats were really hard. No quería estar allá adentro. So I was just like, pues estaba bien débil. So lo único que hice fue like, me voy a ir al coche a sentarme a los sillones suavecitos. I don't want to know anything else. I just want to go to the car. That's it. But I mean, I was right there, you know. I was in front of...
right outside.
Right outside. I could see her too.
Yeah, because I was in a room that's like right in front. So if you're in the parking spaces right out front, like you can kind of see inside.
Yeah.
And I was in that room, and so he could see me. And so that I was in there waiting for the nurse to come back so I could get my vitamin shots. And then she was about to she was like getting me ready, telling me about which shots she was gonna give me. And then I was like, wait, before you give me those shots, is it safe for me to take them if I'm pregnant? And she was like, what do you mean if you're pregnant? And I was like, yeah, I'm not 100% sure, because I didn't want to tell her that I didn't know how to read a pregnancy test. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I am, because, you know, I think I am. And then she was like, okay, well, we can give you a blood test to make 100% sure whether you're pregnant or not. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. And so she drew my blood. She went to go, you know, run the test, whatever. She came back, and with that blood test, we confirmed that I indeed was pregnant. And so I was just like shocked and so happy, because like Luis said, we had already been trying for me to get pregnant for half a year, I think. And it was already, for me, for us, it was already a long time. We honestly didn't think it was gonna take us that long for me to get pregnant. We thought maybe like a month or two. But it ended up being like half a year. And honestly, I was starting to get to the point where I was starting to think like maybe we're gonna end up like those couples who can't have kids until 2 years after they're married, 5 years, or even 10 years, because I've heard stories like that, where couples have to wait an extremely long time in order for them to be able to have any kids. And so I was like, starting to think the worst, like maybe I'm sterile, or maybe Luis can't, or like one of us or both of us.
Ya, yo lo que andaba pensando era de que por mi pecado estoy recibiendo esto y ahora pues no puedo tener niños. Obviamente eso venía a mi mente, trataba de no quedarme con ese pensamiento en mi cabeza, pero pues sí venía a mi mente así como que tal vez, o sea, pues soy pecador, no manches, la neta, le he fallado a Dios tantas veces, a lo mejor este es mi pago, no sé. Entonces, o sea, eso llegó a pasar por mi cabeza.
Yeah, a lot of things were running through our minds during that time, and honestly, I was starting to get to the point where every month I would wait to see if I got my period or not, and if I got it, I would be like almost depressed because I didn't think it was gonna take us that long, and we were both like, well, we felt ready, we wanted to start a family already, and it was starting to become really hard. And at the very end, me and Luis talked about it, and we're like, okay, I mean, if it hasn't happened yet, then it's because it's not the time. Maybe we're not ready. Maybe we still have things to learn. We have to get closer to God. Maybe He has to prepare us, because obviously having kids, having a family is a huge responsibility. It's a blessing and it's wonderful and it's beautiful, but it's a huge responsibility, and maybe we're just not ready for that. Maybe we have some growing up to do, some maturing to do spiritually too. And so we're like, okay, well, I guess we don't really have a choice but to wait. I mean, God knows what He's doing. And maybe we don't understand right now, but we will later. We just have to wait because God's timing is always perfect. And so I was sitting in this clinic by myself. Thank goodness Luis wasn't in there, or else he would have found out right away, and I really wanted to surprise him. And so the nurse, before she showed me the results, she was like, you want to be pregnant? Like right now? Because obviously she knew that we had COVID. And she was like, you want to be pregnant right now? And I was like, yeah, I want to be pregnant right now. And then she looked at me and she was like, you're crazy. And I just kind of laughed because I didn't know how to answer her. But immediately in my head, I thought, obviously I understand the circumstance that I'm in. Having COVID and then becoming pregnant while having COVID is scary. Because you don't know.
Pero es que no sabía nuestras circunstancias, no sabía nada por lo que estábamos pasando, o sea, no sabía que ya habíamos tratado por muchos meses y de que no es de que nos dio COVID y después empezamos a tratar de tener niños, o sea, obvio, ¿no?
If we have been trying for a while for me to get pregnant, and it happens now while I have COVID, it's because God has everything under control. Like, He's literally telling us it's not up to us. It's not up to when we want to. It's whenever He says it's time. And if this is the time that He says, okay, you're gonna have a baby now, then it's because it's the perfect time, even if it doesn't seem like it is. But it is. That's the thought that came to my mind whenever she told me that. And I wish I could have kind of told her. But after that, I was just like, yeah, I just laughed it off. She walked away, signed whatever papers we had to sign and left. And that's how we got COVID. And we found out that I was pregnant.
Nos dimos cuenta que Ruby estaba embarazada, no en nuestro mejor momento. Fue en el momento más oscuro de nuestro matrimonio, porque los dos estábamos enfermos y yo estaba muy muy enfermo, o sea, no era así de que nada más una gripa, estaba muy enfermo, me puse flaco, así chupado, Hasta me acuerdo que mi hermana vino a la casa para dejarme comida y ella se asustó, dijo, wow, o sea, pero realmente, o sea, te ha afectado esta enfermedad. En esos momentos cuando aparentemente todo está en nuestra contra, es cuando Dios, o sea, se muestra más a nosotros. Es cuando tú puedes palpar, es cuando pudimos ver el amor de Dios aún más. Por momentos pensé, ¿sabes qué? Ya, o sea, yo creo que ya me voy a morir, o no sé, a lo mejor hasta aquí ya llegué. Pero cuando Ruby me dio esa noticia de que íbamos a ser papás, para mí fue como un aviso de que, ¿sabes qué? Yo te voy a sanar, no te vas a quedar aquí, tú no vas a morir. Porque para mí, yo lo tomé así, porque decía, Dios no me va a dar un bebé en estos momentos y o sea, y después me va a matar. O sea, yo lo tomé así como, hay esperanza. Dios me está diciendo que hay esperanza, que Él me va a bendecir y me va a multiplicar mi casa, mi familia. Entonces, cuando yo recibí esa noticia, realmente fue como fuerza a mi vida, como que inyectó vida, inyectó fuerzas. Y aunque me sentía muy, muy mal, empecé a tener como ese gozo en mi vida, le empecé a dar gracias a Dios, empecé a llorar. A pesar de todo de lo que yo soy, de lo que yo y Ruby somos, porque no somos perfectos, Dios nos andaba bendiciendo, nos andaba dando una otra oportunidad. En ese momento oscuro fue cuando vimos la mano de Dios más presente en nuestras vidas. Fue cuando hubo más luz. Y cuando nosotros pensábamos que esto iba a ser una maldición y que iba a ser algo malo para nosotros y que estábamos pasando por algo mal, no andábamos pasando mal. Simplemente Dios nos andaba preparando para bendecirnos con un bebé, con lo que andábamos tanto deseando. Entonces, Dios utilizó todo esto, el coronavirus. Muchos a lo mejor pensaron, no manches, o sea, pero ¿qué? O sea, ¿qué pecado estás? ¿O qué hicieron? Pero realmente no, era Dios. Todo el tiempo fue Dios. Todo el tiempo fue Dios trabajando en nosotros para podernos bendecir, para darnos esta bendición.
Exactly. So it was definitely a very hard time for us. Like I said, neither of us worked for a while, and so I was starting to worry about like how we were gonna pay our bills, how we were gonna have enough money for all these things, because we hadn't worked for such a long time, and I was starting to get really worried because I was thinking like, oh my gosh, we're probably gonna have to end up sending Luis to the hospital or something because he got really bad. And a lot of members from our congregation got sick at the same time too, and the majority of them were going to the hospital. And so we were thinking, or I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, we're probably gonna have to send him to the hospital too. But gracias a Dios, we didn't have to do that. We were both able to stay home and recover at home. Another way that we were able to see God's hand in the situation is the fact that I ended up not getting as sick as Luis did. For me, it was just like if I had gripa, congested nose. I was congested, had a runny nose, had a bit of a sore throat. I started getting a cough, but it was not as bad as like how Luis got it. And honestly, like that to me is huge, because I cannot begin to imagine what would have happened to me or the baby if I would have gotten sick like Luis did. I really cannot imagine. All I can say is thank God that he was with us, that we were in his hands, that he had everything under control since the very beginning until now. He has everything and always will have everything under control. Even in a situation like that where other people would be like, like exactly like Luis said, like ¿qué hicieron to be in that situation? And like, how can you be happy being pregnant while you have COVID? You know, what if something happens to your baby? Nothing's gonna happen to my baby, because if God allowed it, then He has everything under control. He is the creator of every single one of us. And I'm sure there's other people who are conceived or born under worse circumstances. And so I just knew, I'm sure this was God poniéndome esa like peace in such a situation, that everything was gonna be okay, that the baby was gonna be okay, I was gonna be okay, and Luis was gonna be okay. Everything was gonna turn out fine. Maybe it was gonna take a while for everything to be better or to look better, but just having this news that I was pregnant, that we were going to finally be able to start our family, was something that seriously boosted our hope during such a dark time in our lives. It really was. It was a lot to go through, but it's truly amazing to be able to see God's hand like that. I think that's it for the update, at least from after Florida until now. Well guys, I think that's it for this video. That was kind of a mini update of how things have gone for us since we came back from Florida. And I think we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.